we're hearing Trump and now Charlie Kirk's widow and a whole bunch of pundits on the right, Elon Musk over the weekend in England saying that the radical left is coming to kill you and you're going to have to fight or you will die. And maybe I'm missing something. I mean, I was in SDS at MSU back in 1968. And I knew a couple of people who went off into the Weather Underground. One of them was involved in a bombing. She ended up in prison for a number of years. I did not agree with them. I was not part of their movement. But that, to the best of my knowledge, that's the last time we actually had a radical left in America that had any power at all. I realize there's some crackpots out there, who call for, just, anarchy or bringing down the whole government. But the left is out there saying we should have a national health care system. You shouldn't go broke going to college. In fact, it's an investment in our future. We need to clean up the environment and stop using so many fossil fuels. And I understand that, infuriates the right-wing fossil fuel billionaires. Just kind of basic, housing should be, a right or something close to it. We need to be subsidizing housing. We should be feeding the hungry. We should be healing the sick. We should be housing the homeless. Basically, Jesus stuff or the stuff that you find in every one of the world's major religions. Why are these guys so hysterical calling those of us who advocate this kind of stuff, what's her name last night, Carrie Lake, giving a speech saying it's evil. The left is evil, and you don't negotiate with evil, implying you just destroy it or kill it. I mean, what am I missing here?
Well, it's very sad. It's the way Trump rose to power, by demonizing fellow citizens, by appealing to fear, by painting the enemy as within. And I don't think the left should respond in kind. We never have. I mean, the real violence in this nation has been against the left, going back to the violence against Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and John F. Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy and so many people who marched on civil rights. And what defines the left is an ability to say, well, we're not going to descend into the cycle of violence. As Emmanuel Cleaver, my colleague, says, fighting fire for fire leaves ashes, as only someone, an African-American of the civil rights era, could say. And so what we need to do is be tough, fight procedurally with everything, but say, look, there's an alternative way. And that way is to appeal to the bigger sensibility and spirit of the American people, which want healing and want a way forward and don't want us calling each other names and threatening violence. And I really believe that there's a hunger for that out there. That combined with a strong agenda of people who are in economic pain is, in my view, what will prevail. At least that's my hope.
What have we done or said that would provoke them to call for our death or our imprisonment, or in the case of this new legislation that it's been proposed, to take away our passports? Is it that we think that queer people shouldn't be harassed? They should be able to live their lives like, straight people? Is it that we think that, black and brown people should have the same rights and privileges in our society as white people? I mean, is it that simple? Is it all rooted in white supremacy?
I don't want to paint everyone with a broad brush. What I'll say is Trump certainly has used it for political advantage. He's basically said, look, the American dream is dead. You're hurting economically. And the problem is all those people. And first, those people were the immigrants. Then those people were trans folks. Then those people were other countries. And now, in fact, unfortunately, he said those people are just the Democratic Party itself. It's the left itself. Right. That is the enemy. And that is what he hopes people will look to blame for their own lives. And the only answer to that is, I suppose we could paint false villains to counter it, but that would be a race to the bottom for this nation. And what I think we need to do is go in with understanding and empathy of people who feel a sense of loss, either a sense of loss economically or a sense of loss culturally, where the America that they knew is changing. Just like it's changed for an immigrant, there's change for people in a culture that is different. And we say, look, there's a better way, and here's the better way for your kids to have a shot at the American dream and for us to have a renewed national purpose and join us in that. And by the way, there are a lot of examples of presidents who did that. FDR, John F. Kennedy, Obama, Clinton, even though I didn't agree with his framework, Bernie Sanders, even though he didn't become president, who did that in his campaign. Mamdani, I think, is doing that with a largely hopeful vision. And so Trump is one anomaly. I mean, it's a cancer of two terms. But there are other alternative models that have proven, it's not Pollyannish, that have proven to move the American spirit, and I believe it will again.
Yeah, I get it. Congressman Ro Khanna, Vice Chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, 17th District of California, taking your calls for the hour right after this. Stay with us.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
It's a national town hall meeting with Congressman Ro Khanna. You can find his website at khanna.house.gov, and I believe that's his Blue Sky handle as well.